What's up, y'all? Hey, I'm gonna share some hate mail with y'all. And man, you gotta be either really good at your job or I guess maybe even really bad at it if you get hate mail from your own father. Okay, but look, y'all, and I'm gonna share this hate mail with you, not for any other reason, because this is, I want to, make this clear right now. This is not out of any sort of spite. This is not out of any sort of like airing out my laundry. This is not trying to put my father on blast or anything like that. There's no vindictive spirit. Lord have mercy on me. That's not where I'm coming from with this. The reason why I'm sharing these things with y'all is because there's a long question has been, especially from conservatives, how is it that the Democrats have such a stronghold on the black community? And why is it that the black community is so loyal in voting for the Democrat Party, despite the damage the Democrat Party has always done to the black community? So I want to share these things with you guys, kind of to give you some insight on this. A lot of the reason why many blacks, y'all, vote Democrat is because, one, as we've heard Joe Biden say, it's the black thing to do. And when it comes to the black community, that's paramount. What you do has to be the black thing to do. And if you don't do these things, well, then you will be ostracized. You will be bullied. It doesn't matter who it is. It could be your friends. It could be your coworkers. It could be your family. It could be your own father. You will be, you're going to take a hit hard. And you see a lot of these people out there who are in lockstep with this because that's what they're conditioned to believe. It's conditioning, y'all. And the condition being based on you have to do this to qualify as black. And if you don't do these things, well, you don't want to answer to the consequences. So I'm gonna start this coming out of a video that I had posted. I posted a video of this man on a street corner, and he had a sign, and it said, "Jesus is my B word." B word for bleep. But anyway, he has a sign out there. Now he's out there cussing and swearing at people and making his case about, whatever it is he's trying to make his case about. And I filmed it, and I posted it online. And the bottom line is, y'all, this person isn't saying anything more out of mind than what a lot of Democrats believe. When you have these people out there who are doing the things that they're doing, these are godless people. And you have people who are revered as highly intellectual saying the same thing in their rebellion against God. I'm listening to this person make the same statements. And a lot of these statements, y'all, come from people who are of the Democrat voting persuasion. So that being said, I posted this, and my dad, the Democrat, who openly declares me in public as an Uncle Tom House N-word. That is his public declaration of me. So you might say that we a little bit at odds. I've never said such things about my father, and I don't speak about any black people that way, period. I don't talk about even though I have these profound disagreements, I don't speak my disagreements in hate. But with Democrats, if you don't disagree with them, that's what you are. You're a if you disagree with them, that's what you are. You're a hater. So for me, it's like, look, man, I disagree with y'all, but I don't need to resort to hateful epithets or curse you, because I don't agree with you. But with Democrats, that's their way. That's their method. So yes, my dad is referred to me as an Uncle Tom House N-word, in public. So, but that's Democrats. That's how they roll, while trying to call somebody else a racist. So my dad, the Democrat, and I talk about these things in my book, y'all, A Solid Right Cross. I hope you get it for some insight into these things. So my dad says, what the F word for bleep, is the Democrat Party got to do with this? Everything, because that party is a godless party. They reject God. And the only God that they do like is a God that they can create in their image to be able to say that God would be okay with this. And you read the word of God and it's like, you will see that that's definitely not true. So anyway, what does the Democrat Party have to do with this? Republicans won't steal this election. More slander. It's not objective to steal the election. And you need to keep Jesus out of your lying conversations. He is not a political, he not a political prop. Gotcha. Okay. Now, this reverence that this, with all due respect, this false reference, because my dad, just like a lot of Democrats, do not believe that Jesus is God. He doesn't believe Jesus is God. So this reverence that he's claiming is false. I've heard, he's declared this, that he does not believe that Jesus is God. The Bible is just some man-made book and of all that sort of stuff. But according to my dad, he does believe in God, but it's a God of his own making, a God of his own choosing, right? So, but that God is not reflected in Jesus. And he says that he is not a political prop. So my dad, the Democrat, is offended because I have used this person to illustrate the godlessness of the Democrat Party, right? When you have, and like I said, this person out there is no more out of his mind than Black Lives Matter and Antifa out there burning down buildings, right? Burning up businesses, harassing people, assaulting people, and doing what it is that they're doing. All right, he's no more out of his mind than these people that are revered as these champions in the culture. While the Democrats falsely act like they're admonishing, we don't support the violence that they're doing. It's like, really? Okay, but they seem to be doing a lot of it while you guys are withholding the police, right? So, but at any rate, so he says my dad accuses me of including Jesus in my lying conversations. And says that he's not a political prop. Okay, I called out a person who had a sign, who had a prop, calling Jesus his B word. This is the person who actually had the prop. I called him out on having a prop. But my dad, the Democrat, accuses me of using Jesus as a political prop when I called out the person who actually had a prop, right? That's Democrats for you. So now I responded to this, and I make these responses public, y'all, because it's not, like I said, it's not about me trying to air out some laundry or anything like that. What it's about is showing why. This is a big part of the reason why so many blacks vote Democrat, because of the conditioning. They're bullied into this, right? It's a bullying tactic that keeps them there. And it makes them afraid to do anything else. And to keep from looking afraid, they just have to look like they have adopted, they have the worldview inherently themselves. They're already there because they don't want to be bullied. They don't want to be ostracized. So they have to put up this front that that's where they are, right? I rejected this for a long time. And even the whole culture of qualifying, you got to qualify it as this is authentically black. I always knew that there was something inherently wrong with that. Even as a kid, I knew that there was something wrong with that because I didn't like it in other cultures. I didn't like that. Ethnocentrism was something that I didn't dig from the get-go, because I know that when you go down that road, evil follows it. It's an evil worldview. It doesn't matter who you are. Black pride, brown pride, white pride, Asian pride, it doesn't matter. It leads to evil. It is evil, right? And I've always known that, even as a kid. And it's one thing that my father did not like, even as a kid, that I rejected that worldview, right? As long as I can remember, my dad always accused me of trying to be white, right? You want to be like them white folks. My dad hates white people, hates them, right? And I always knew that there was something wrong with it. It's like, look, man, I don't know what you're saying. It has to do with me wanting to be white. You know, I just do what I do. It's not me desiring to say, oh, I want to be white. It's never been that. But that's what's in his mind. So it's always kept me like at odds. Like, man, I don't know what it is that has to do to qualify or make me have to live up to the standard of being this black person that you think that I should be. What is the actual standard for that? How far do you actually have to go? Because it never seems to satisfy anybody. When you have this thing where people out trying to out black each other or trying to keep up with being black, it just leads to problems, right? So if we can get our minds out of just, trying to be, black enough, I think we would do a heck of a lot better. My salvation, my kingdom does not reside in my skin color. That I had no choosing in that, right? That's a gift, right? That was a gift. I can't take any pride in it because I didn't choose it. It was a gift. If I'm going to boast anything, I'll just boast in God for it. I thank God for just having skin. And same as you. I don't care if you're white. I don't care if you're Mexican. I don't care if you're Middle Eastern. It don't matter. God gave you that gift. You didn't choose it. So to boast in it and be prideful of it as if you chose it yourself, it's like, no, that don't cut it. Pride goes before destruction anyway. And this kind of pride that too much of the black community has is what has led to too much of their destruction. I mean, come on, 13% of the population, that kind of ethnocentrism isn't doing well for y'all. All right. So, I've always seen a problem with that, even as a kid. And I've seen the hypocrisy with it because I see how black folks do each other. Too many of them. Right. And while talking about how much they love, their black brothers and sisters, meanwhile, they totally abuse each other. Right. Too many of them do. So at any rate, being that as it may, with my dad, who comes in, who trolls my page. Right. I don't go to his page. I don't go to any Democrat's page. That's not what I do. If you're interested in what I got to say, you can come to my page. But I don't go looking for y'all, trying to start stuff with y'all. I'm just trying to, protect, my territory. That's my thing. Okay? But here they want to come intruding, on everybody's territory, making everybody want to have to adopt their way. So, and if you don't adopt their way, if you don't subscribe to their way, then they accuse you of being intolerant and a hater and all that sort of stuff. And you can't be divided with your thoughts with Democrats. You can't be divided from them, even though they're the ones who boast in diversity, right? And like I said, y'all, diversity and divide share the same root. They're suckering people with this whole diversity narrative. It's a ruse. It's a lie. So I let my dad know. It's like, look, man, you speak to me as an enemy, right? And I'm just letting you know that you speak to me more of an enemy than you do as a father. Right. And but that's OK, because the word of God says that we're still to love our enemies. So if I can't love you as my father, which I do. Right. That doesn't change. Right. But if you're going to behave like my enemy, then I'll just love you as my enemy, because the Lord tells us to. Right. So and the thing is, the Lord tells us I don't come to bring peace. I come to bring the sword. Don't get it twisted. I'm here to drive a sword between father and son, mother and daughter. I'll drive a sword between family, right? Why is that? The reason why Yeshua will do that, y'all, is because if a father is trying to influence his son to do evil, to reject God for who he says he is, even God will come and drive a sword between them to protect the son, right? If I have to do that, if I have to divide you from your father, if I have to divide you from your mother, I will do that so that your father will not drag you into hell with him, and vice versa. If the son is given over to worldly ideas that are apart from God, then God will divide that son from his father to protect the father from the son dragging his father into hell with him. And we see a lot of that, don't we? We see a lot of parents out there who are so afraid of losing their relationship with their children that they will adopt their children's ideas. These kids go off to college, they get all brainwashed with these godless ideas, they come back, and now the parent, in trying to keep a relationship with their children, will redefine sin on their own terms. They will abandon what God has taught them to be able to keep a relationship with their children. We see that too, don't we? Right? And God says, if I have to, I will come and I will drive a sword between you to protect you. So is it in the nature of God to do that? Hey, look at Abraham and Isaac. What did Isaac do wrong? Nothing, as far as we know. But God told Abraham to take Isaac up the hill and put him to the sword, didn't he? Why? Because we have to make it very clear. We have to make it very clear that God is number one. Do not even put your children before God. Do not put your wife. Do not put your spouse. Do not put your job. Do not put anything before God. Nothing. Your money. Nothing comes before God. Not even your son. And Abraham's like, I got you. I'll take my son up the hill. I'll put him to the sword. But I know my God. I know my God will redeem this. That's why both of us are coming back. But Abraham did the business. He went up there. He handled it. He says, OK, let's do this. And God says, you straight, man. You square. You know what's up. And now your action will be a witness to the world that I come first. Why? Because God is the one who actually teaches us how to love. Our love destroys each other. Our ideas of love hurt one another. It's God's love, right? That's why you got to love him first. You put God first, and he teaches us how to love each other. But when you love anything else before you love God, that's when the world descends into chaos. And that's too much of the problems that we're having right now, right? God's not some mean old God. God knows better. He's like, look, man, you got to show that I come first. I'm the author of love, man. I'm the author of life. If you don't have me to govern what you understand about love, you will hurt each other. And you got a lot of people out there trying to redefine love on their love wins, right? They're perverting love, right? Before you know it, love is going to be defined as being able to have sexual relationships with children, right? That's where this love wins narrative is going. Does that really sound like love to you? And that's all in the Democrat Party, right? It's all in the Democrat Party. And this is the things that they're voting for. These are the sins that they want us to live by. That's where we're heading, right? This ain't new stuff, y'all. This has been. It just comes in cycles. And we're in a generation where there's no excuse for us to not know better now, right? So because I make statements like this, I'm a hater, right? I'm a disrespectful hater. And so my dad, Democrat, writes me and tells me it's very hard for me to come up with the words to express how I feel about you, nor is it very nice. I see why you like Trump, because you are made in his image. That's a really bizarre statement. I don't know of anything that anybody could say to substantiate that claim. It's a bizarre statement, but you know, these are things that Democrats believe, right? Just because I'm voting for Trump, I'm made in his image. I'm made in his image. That doesn't make any sense. Sorry. With all due respect, it makes no sense, sir. You have a lot of talent. Thank you. Appreciate that. But that's about it. Never in your wildest dreams will you ever be as smart or a snowball's chance in hell to be the man that your daddy is. I hope y'all get my audiobook, A Solid Right Cross, and you can see what my dad's definition of manhood is. And I would have to say that I'm pleased to say that, yes, if that's what manhood is, I'll pass. I guess I just won't be a man like my father is. So, you know, but check out the book. Anyway, and once again, y'all, this is not me trying to disclose things, you know, about my father, to shame my father or put him on blast. I'm trying to point to y'all about one of the reasons why it's so difficult to make this movement with the black community. I know people are happy about Brexit and their walk away and stuff like that. Y'all, we've been there before. Okay, remember there was a war and blacks were free to walk away from the Democrat Party, and they walked right back to the Democrat Party. Civil rights movement, Voting Rights Act and stuff like that. Republicans came to bat for them and they walked right back to the Democrat Party. These are reasons why that happens, y'all. And it'll happen again if we're not quite careful. All right. And a lot of that is in this because of the bullying. The bullying is being ramped up, and these people will be Stockholmed and then coming right back into the Democrat Party. All right. So anyway, let me see, where was I at? Snowball's chance in hell to be the man that your daddy is. Okay. You go around talking about the Bible, quoting verses that you feel is supported to your sick, twisted ideas. You thrive on people liking you, not as a human being. Actually, no, that's been the whole point is we respecting and loving each other just as a human being created in the image of God, not for being black or demanding respect for being black or demanding respect for being white or Asian or anything like that. No, we're human beings. I acknowledge people's different races or different nationalities and stuff like that, but that's not the filter of which I stick to make judgments about them. It's not where I'm at. You know, I don't have white friends and black friends or anything like that. Like, you're my friend or my friend. And as I said before, the only time your color matters to me is if you might come up missing and I may have to give a description of you. Other than that, you know, I make no judgments or qualifications on a person being my friend or my enemy based on their color. Right. So at any rate, you drive on people being human beings. Like, no, I got to disagree with that, too. But because you are an entertainer sort of like Amos and Andy. There's those bigoted epithets again. Even though Republicans are the ones who are supposed to be racist, I'm getting the bigoted epithets here. Thanks for your love for me as your enemy and not as your father. That's some real sick S word for bleep. Okay. That's some real sick stuff. All right. There is nothing your words can do to me to hurt me. Well, that's only if you're assuming that my objective is to hurt you. Never been my objective. Like a lot of you can see it in these Democrats, man. These are very hurt people, right? Democrats, that's where they come from. Their whole worldview and their policies, y'all, comes from a place of hurt, not from a place of healing. Their objective isn't to heal. Their objective is to make everybody common in the place of hurt. That's where the salvation is that everybody is hurt. Right? Everybody has to hurt equally. As the saying goes, socialism is the equal sharing of misery. That's where Democrats are. That's when the world will be redeemed, when everybody's hurt. They don't have a policy of healing. Their policy is a policy of hurt. Right? They're hurt people, and they want everybody else to hurt as much as they do. My objective is not to hurt anybody. I don't say things to hurt people. I may say things out of tough love. But my objective is not to hurt anyone. So now what my dad, the Democrat here, is projecting his way onto me. And if we're talking about not being created in somebody's image, it's like, yeah, I'm not created in your image because your image is rooted in hurt. You've rejected you were created in the image of God. The image that you want is an image of hurt, and you want other people to hurt as much as you do. That's the Democrat way. That's their policy. That's their worldview, right? Fairness. It's only fair if everybody hurts, while thinking that they're making opportunities for people. No, their doctrine of fairness is based in being unfair to other people. That's what they do. That's who they are, right? So, and me trying to hurt, it's like, no, I'm sorry. That's once again, that's incorrect. It's not me trying to hurt somebody. And let me see. There's nothing your words can do to hurt me, because there is not a damn thing you can do for me. Okay. I can dig that. Yeah. Let's see. Nothing I can do for you, which I guess makes me, the character, I guess, a decent character of somebody is valuing somebody, whether they can do something for you or not. And in true Democrat fashion, my dad has demonstrated, just like a Democrat, you're only important to me if you can do something for me. Right. And being that I can't do anything for my father, I am not important to him, just as the Democrat Party. There's nothing that these people can do for them that's important to them except vote for them. That's your importance to us. Vote for us. We ain't going to do anything for you. We'll just make sure that you're still angry and still prejudiced against Republicans. That'll make you feel better. You like being angry. You love that stuff. So we'll make sure that you stay angry. And when it comes time to vote, you make sure that you vote for us. And then when we get your vote, we'll be ghosts. All right. That's the Democrat way. Yeah, we can't do it. It's like you can't do anything for us. So you're not really important to us. But that vote, we want that. Right. So now, because there's not a damn thing you can do for me, respect would be a good start. OK. All right. With all due respect, I will try to fortify you with that as best as I can. There are things that I could tell you that would make your dumb A word for bleep run and hide. OK, see, now that's a Democrat for you. They always think that their not so favorable experiences are unique unto them. Right. We've all got our scars, man. We've all had to one degree or another, some maybe worse than others. Always going to be somebody who's had it, worse than you. But that's Democrats. Democrats think that their experiences are unique, right? Meanwhile, they're wanting to have this collectivist mindset as if they're all the same. But when you get down to it, every one of them thinks that they've experienced this unique, traumatizing experience. And I know that I need the Lord's strength. It doesn't matter how good I may have had it or how bad I may have had it. I need the Lord's strength to get me through it all, But this idea that he's had these experiences that would make me want to run and hide. Wow, man. Well, I guess you've got the corner on things that have happened to you that weren't so favorable. And I pray the Lord's peace that you'll be able to get over that, because obviously you haven't. But it's like, can one be so full? Of course, I'm asking rhetorically, can one be so full of themselves to think that they're the only ones who had these experiences that others would be so, put off by, or that I would cower and I would run and hide, but that's what Democrats think. They think that they're a unique set of victims, right? I'm supposed to, he's the superlative on victim here. He wants the crown on that, the victimhood. And that's what Democrats want. That's their method, y'all. That's their tactic. They're victims. Constantly victims, and you have to pander to that. You have to submit to that. They seek empowerment in being victims. You see it right there. I could tell you things that would make your dumb, a word for bleep, run and hide. You would run and hide, right? Because he's the superlative on what it is to be a victim, and you have to honor that, right? So, and this, you see the paradox here. He's empowered, right? This he can hold over me. I'm a better victim than you. That's Democrats. We're better victims than you. We're better than you because we're victims, right? And you have to respect us for that. We seek empowerment in being victims. It's the Democrat way, right? So I feel that you are a self-glorifying, skinning and grinning a-hole, right? So now, and so I'm the sick one. I'm the sick one because I'm like, look, man, you've presented yourself to me as my enemy, but I still love you, right? According to the word of God, I'm mandated to love you, right? And Jesus is perfect and Jesus is right, so I got no problem with that. But I'm the sick one. That's a Democrat for you, right? So I'm a self-glorified. It's like, how self-glorying could I possibly be? It's like, conservatives often get, accused of wanting this spotlight, these spotlight seekers and wanting to head to the front line of the entertainment industry. Man, you don't see me like trying to get on, like calling these shows up and say, hey, put me on. I want, my guest spot and all that sort of stuff. I usually don't call these people unless they call me, because it's about the message for me. It's not about promoting myself. I've been pretty frustrated because despite that, I don't really get out there and try to seek to promote myself. But I don't think that's a reason for people to have just tossed me to the side the way that they've done. But I don't recall me trying to be this person who's always trying to get in the spotlight. Do you? Have you seen much of that? No, it's not how I roll. But once again, this is a slanderous representation of me. It's just not true. So let's see. I'm skinning and grinning. More of those. Those black epithets, thrown my way, even though Republicans are supposed to be the racist. So I'm a skinning and grinning a-hole, a word for bleep. He spells all that stuff. I try to refrain from being cursed because, y'all's kids might be watching, man. I got respect for your kids, man. I don't feel like I need to, curse and stuff like that to try to give power to what it is that I'm saying. I don't do that. As long as you can keep white folks grinning for you. My dad's got issues with white people. My dad's a huge racist. Let's see. Grinning for you, that's what fires your rocket. The same way you feel about me, double it for how I feel about you. Okay. Your ASS, your A word for bleep, has been totally brainwashed. California is burning up. Be careful, it might get you. Right. Okay. Now, so basically if you know the nature of my dad's the kind of person where it's like, you need to be hurt to wake up. So as far as my dad is concerned, if I get a taste of these fires, that'll be good for me. And my dad is calling me sick. Right. But let's break this down, it's because this is Democrat nature, because this is what Democrats think that we need. My dad says I'm brainwashed, and Democrats have always said this about me. I'm brainwashed. Okay, I'm brainwashed, and he makes sure to let me know that I'm here in California. California is burning up. Yeah, California is burning up because it's run by Democrats. California is basically like arguably the most liberal state in the union. It's run by Democrats. Yeah, California is definitely on fire, right? It's burning down because it's run by Democrats. right? Republican representation and population here is, come on, no. It's run by Democrats. And this thing about me being brainwashed, like, man, I've been in California pretty much all my life. I've been around Democrats, liberals, pretty much all my life. I am in the middle of an environment. I've always been in the middle of an environment of Democrats. If I were brainwashed, I would be a liberal Democrat. If California had anything to do with my brainwashing, where I've pretty much been all my life, I would totally be a Democrat. It's like, no, but I'm one of those who dares to actually consider what it is I'm being presented with, and make an evaluation. And praise be to God, you know, I've tried to learn to be prayerfully meditative on these things, you know, before I continue. So sorry, man, the brainwash thing, you know, these Democrats, they've always tried to accuse me of that. That dog don't hunt. As long as you can keep white. Read that already. The God I serve. Yes, the God that you serve. That's Democrats. They like to make up their own God. They don't like, if they don't like to call Jesus by name. They don't like to call God by name in the person of Jesus Christ. They reject that. And if they do invoke Jesus, it's usually to violate the commandment of not taking the Lord's name in vain, as they invoke God in the person of Yeshua to justify the sins that they want to make law for us to live under. That's their worldview, to redefine what sin is, you know, kind of like how they want to redefine marriage, how they have, right? So, and redefine genders, redefine these things. They also want to do the same thing with the word of God, and then will invoke Jesus to assume to give authority over these things. So when we're talking about the God I serve, he's not talking about Yeshua. And being that Yeshua is the way, the truth, and the life, and nobody comes to the Father but by him. If there is any other deity that you assume that is your God, it's a God of your own shaping. It's a God that you made in your own image. Therefore, that God will only lead you to the devil. And for all intents and purposes, that God that you serve is the devil. So, you know, and it should be noted that, you know, my dad is a very intelligent man. You know, I think he's a pretty well accomplished man. And one of his, you know, pride-filled accomplishments that he's very proud of is his rank of being a past worshipful master. Yeah, past worshipful master Mason. Right. So that's one of the things that he really, you know, leans on for the qualifications of his intelligence and his accomplishments as being a past worshipful master Mason. And, you know, Masons will deny that there's no spiritual connotations or any religious connotations that come, you know, with their fraternity, even though they refer to what is called the supreme architect of the universe and things that will go along with, you know, with their rights. So even there is these inconsistencies in arguments that people will make. But, you know, whether it be Baal or any other thing that will be assumed to be some sort of deity. And Baal itself really just means Lord, a Lord of some sort. So a Baal can be anything that a person is a general figure of worship that a person can perceive to be as God. But if it ain't the person of Jesus, then that God can be Baal in any form, whatever other name that you want to get it. The bottom line is that if it ain't Jesus, no matter what other name you want to call it, it will be the devil. So that is the God that he serves, meaning that he will not, he rejects Jesus as God. Has blessed me with my 70 in good health. Praise be to God. In the name of Yeshua, I am thankful for your good health. And you have the nerve to think that you have more wisdom than your daddy? Negro, please. That's what he says. Okay, so let's break those down really quick. I don't ever really recall trying to compare my intelligence to my father. You know, now, because I call Democrats out and I think that their worldview is foolish, I reckon he takes this very personally and thinks that I'm talking specifically about him. It's like, look, man, if you're a Democrat, I'm sorry. That's the coincidence that's in there. But I call Democrats out on what it is that they do. And I don't think that their worldview is sound. All right. But he takes that very personal and thinks that it's all about him. And that's just how Democrats are. They take these things very personal. They think that everything is about them. Right. So in terms of having more wisdom than your daddy. And as he said, I will never be the man that he is, and I will never be as smart as he is. Now, the thing about manhood and being smart, and you know, as y'all know, I don't have kids, and my dad has already implied that, you know, he implies that, you know, you got to have kids to know what you're talking about in terms of this stuff. It's like, I reject that because you haven't experienced something doesn't mean that you can't have an observation or an opinion on it. A lot of people out there haven't been president, but a lot of people out there try to act like they know as much as the president does, don't they? You know, it's like we have a right to have an opinion about things, even though we may not have experienced it. You can make an observation, right? A lot of people out there haven't played professional football. They got a lot of opinions on it. You know, professional baseball or whatever. You know, we have a right to have an opinion about these things. You don't necessarily have to have a personal experience per se to be able to have a sound observation on things. There's a lot of people out there who are actually parents and make a lot of goofy decisions. It's like, okay, well, what's your excuse? You got the experience of being a parent. Why are you doing this? Why are you dropping the ball here? You're supposed to be the expert in being a parent because you got kids. Right. So that, you know, either way, that argument doesn't cut it. So let's see. So he's telling me this that I have no more wisdom. Now, I don't know, y'all. Call me crazy. But, you know, as a mentor, because I've been a teacher, and I reckon this goes the same as being a father, because a father is supposed to be a mentor also. Right. And your objective, the objective of this mentor, of this father, is to make their disciple or their children, right, is to lead them in the ways that will make them better, right? I would never tell my students, you will never be the teacher that I am. You will never be as good as me. You will never be as smart as me. What's the point of me teaching? No, now I can't make them do anything. I'm not going to try to pressure them to do anything. But if you're going to be under my instruction, my objective, my desire for you is now if the kid is under my roof, it's like, look, man, this is your dues that you're going to have to pay to be living in my house, right? You eat my food, you know, all that sort of stuff, right? These are the rules. And my rule is to lead you to be a better man than me. It's to lead you to be a smarter man than me, to be stronger than me, to be sharper than me, to be more elegant and graceful than me, right? I want you to be better. Now, I don't know, man, call me crazy, that speaks more to manhood for me. Now, like I said, I haven't been a father, but I have been a teacher. And as a teacher, my objective is for my student to be better, right? And so I've had no designs to be like, I'm a smarter man than, you know, my objective is to be smarter man than my dad. And even in instilling this value into your disciple, you know, in your children. When I say disciples, you know, I use that in the term of what I understand about disciple now, meaning that I am teaching you to be a disciple of Christ, not a disciple of me. You know, forgive me if I didn't make that clear, but a disciple of Christ. The objective is to make them better in that sense. So, and if a student is understanding that, even the students will be learning the humility of that. Even though my objective is to make them better than me, they will still understand that it's not in my heart to be superior to you. It is my desire only to do the honor of what it is that you've taught and see if I can do something that is a blessing to the Lord. And once they've done that and they don't have this competitive spirit against their teacher, that is what makes them a better person. And that's the balance. The Lord has laid out that balance. He's given us the guidelines of that. You know what I'm saying? It's, you know, so that's the God I serve. Right. I'll boast in him. I won't boast in my intelligence to come to that. I will just give thanks be to God that's what he endows. All right. So let's see. So he goes on to say, what do we say? We say, Negro, please. All right. So, and we hear a lot of that in black culture. You know, it's, you got to call out when you are displeased. When you're displeased with another person of color, another black person, when you are displeased with them, you always have to preface your displeasure with them being black. Despite all that black pride, despite how much we love our black brothers and sisters like that, when you have a grievance with another black person, you always have to preface your disagreement with them and your grievance with them being black. You have to curse them for being black first. And the black community wonders why there's so much hatred among the black community. See, I don't do those things. I never curse a black person. 1. 2, if I have a grievance with a black person, I never preface it with them being black. I don't curse them for being black first. You black this and you black that, and you get your black or whatever. Boo, Negro, and I know you didn't do this, and I don't do that. I do not preface any of my grievances that I have with black people or anybody. You white this or you Mexican that, or I don't do that. I don't associate their skin color to curse them with the actual thing that they did to grieve me. I don't do that. Right? That's racist. Okay, so, but you can see that he has no reservations about doing that, right? Expressing his grievance with me, coupling that with me being black. Now, but I'm the sellout, right? I'm the one who hates his own people. Meanwhile, you have people who are authentically black always curse each other and then preface it with the grievance of them being black first, right? So, Negro, please. Get you some children, boys, so you can keep that great wisdom of yours going. Okay, I appreciate the suggestion, but you got to have nuts, right? You got to have nuts. That's how I produced a son with great talent. I can appreciate that. Talent isn't necessarily, I don't know if it's a genetic thing that's passed on from one gene to another. I give credit to the Lord for that. I appreciate that you think that I'm a talented person. I give credit to the Lord for that. He's the one who anoints us to do the things that we do. That's something that I would inherit from him. So I understand that he wants to take credit. My dad wants to take credit for talent, and that's just Democrats. Democrats want to take credit for everything. But that credit goes to the Lord in the name of Yeshua. But you gotta have nuts. So basically now this is my dad, who has already made it very clear that he's more of a man than I am. Much more of a man than me, and I'll never be the man that he is. He's much more of a man than me, and is challenging or discrediting or disqualifying my manhood by saying you gotta have nuts. All right, get some nuts, like right? Okay, let's examine that. My dad, the Democrat, is cursing me for lacking nuts. Meanwhile, he is staunchly a Democrat, the party that celebrates men for forfeiting their manhood. They celebrate men for wanting to change into women. They celebrate men who discriminate against women as sexual partners and prefer to be with themselves. This is the party that my dad supports. He supports men who forfeit their manhood. He supports that. And he supports the party that has used the black man to gain sympathy votes for the LGBT cause. The black man, the population that has been so disenchanted with how America, which has been the Democrats, has emasculated the black man, and he votes for the party that has emasculated the black man and uses the black man to promote the emasculation of other men. And he's cursing me for supposedly lacking nuts. Right? Not only that, I guess I lack nuts because I don't have children. Okay. Now, meanwhile, my dad, the Democrat, is staunchly pro-abortion. Oh, he's all about abortion. Right? These are people, when you're a pro-abortion, typically what that means is that you do not have the guts to face raising a kid. So you kill the child instead. It is the ultimate act of cowardice, y'all. A pregnancy's arise. Oh no, I don't want to have to face raising a kid. I don't want to give up my career. I don't want to do this. I don't want to raise a child. So we're going to put that child to death. That lacks nuts. Actually, it takes a lot of nuts up here, right? You got to be totally nuts, right? You got to have a skull full of nuts, rather than your drawers being full of nuts. And if you go down that road, that would actually be the cowardice, right? But as far as he's concerned, I'm the coward that lacks nuts because I don't have kids. Okay. So once again, this is the Democrat line of thinking. You know, But, I get it, man. I'm the dumb one. I appreciate that. Okay. But doesn't know when to wind his A word for bleep or scratch his watch. I've always loved that. That saying's funny. I like that one. You have no compassion nor support for black people for people of color. Okay. I have no compassion or support. Come on, man. Really? The black people, when I speak of black people that I've supported, these are people that you disqualify as black people. See, this is Democrats, and Democrats say this stuff all the time. They always say this stuff against black conservatives and black Republicans. You guys never have anything to say about black people, and you never support them. It's like you see us supporting each other, right? Well, to some degree. A lot. It's actually, admittedly, it's been a lot less nowadays because you do have a lot of black folks who will leave other blacks in a ditch because they're clamoring for their own notoriety and stuff like that. I see that. It's like I'm not. I don't pretend to be ignorant of these things or make excuses for it because there is a lot of that. However. So I concede to that, and it is a shame, and I agree with my father as far as that goes, and Democrats who say such things, because there's some truth to that. But I digress, y'all, because the thing is, the people of color that we support, you don't see as black. So in your imagination, and Democrats are definitely driven by imagination, in their imagination, they just pretend like we don't exist. So if we are supporting other black people who share our worldview, we're not really supporting other black people. So they make this up that we don't support other black people, which is it's not true. It's not a true thing. So just because we don't support the black people that you think that we should support doesn't mean that we don't support black people. We just don't support black people who think like you, which of course disqualifies us as black, because once again, y'all, that is supposed to be the premiere of our existence. Everything that we do has to be filtered through us being black. Everything that we build on has to be built on being black. And if you don't do that, then you don't get to qualify as black. Y'all, color fades. All right. It doesn't matter what color you are. Why would I put all that stock and make that investment in something that is not eternal? Right? The Lord is eternal. I build my worldview on that. Heaven and earth will pass away. God's word remains forever. I build on that, right? Not on something that will fade. The only way that my skin color can be eternal is if God makes it so. So why don't I just go to the source and I'll build on that? But if you're going to be authentically black, you have to build your worldview on that. And anything that's not built on the word of God is built on sand, and that will sink. And you see how the black community is pretty much the lowest in population in America. The most self-destroying population in America, because they're being forced to build on this worldview that is built on sand, right? It doesn't matter what race you are, right? If you have an ethnocentric worldview, it's gonna lead to evil and destruction, right? So doesn't make you, let me see. All right. But doesn't know when to okay, read that. Your feelings for me doesn't make my days sunny or cloudy, because you have no compassion or support for color people. I haven't heard not one word in support of Black Lives Matter. They're not entitled to my support just because they're black, right? And what happened to what happened to judging people by content of character, not color of skin? They're not demonstrating anything that I would find worth supporting. Their worldview is evil. Their worldview is godless. This is admitted by them. Their worldview is godless. And they want to turn our country into a country of communism. I'm not interested in that. It's a worldview that's evil. So, and I understand that you don't accept that. Democrats don't accept that. And y'all, this is not a new idea with the Democrat Party. This idea of theirs of communism and this collectivist idea has been going on since the early 1900s. This ain't a new thing. And their idea of being entitled and feeling that other people should be made to facilitate the things that they're entitled has gone on before that. This is what we call slavery. Slavery, socialism, communism, as long as somebody else is made to pay for what Democrats feel entitled to, it's all the same thing. This ain't a new thing with the Democrat Party, right? So let's see. Now, I haven't heard one word of support of Black Lives Matter. Oh, I forgot. You don't want to lose your great status with your friends. My friends? Okay, let me see. I don't want to, what great status are you talking about? I don't have a great status. Matter of fact, after the Democrats shadow banned me and just, pretty much destroyed my career by keeping my content out of public view. I can't share my content anymore. The Democrats have tore that up for me, right? And my friends in the conservative movement left me in a ditch. I wasn't, I wasn't the commentator or the black commentator du jour anymore, right? So they bailed. They was gone. These conservative friends, there's a very small remnant of my audience left, very small. And as thankful as I am, I'm grateful for the very few who still tune into my work. Very few conservatives who give me a platform, who have me on their show, right? Can't even count on one hand who's actually extending that to me. This great status that I have, unless you're being totally sarcastic, that I would totally agree with. Say, yeah, man, this great status that I have, no. One is because I've been just as honest with conservatives and how they've dropped the ball as I have with Democrats on how they keep trying to cheat the game. But with conservatives, me calling them out hasn't made me a very popular guy with them. And not only that, conservatives are afraid to even mention me in public. I'm more of like if I'm their friend, I'm like their closet friend, right? They'll be my friend in private and stuff like that. But, in public, no. They make sure that I'm not somebody that they really know in public. So I don't know what you say. You think that I'm doing this because of my friends? Like what I've been giving up? No, man, I'm not trying to do this to impress my friends. This ain't about my friends. This is just simply about protecting the truth, trying to preserve our republic, about promoting the word of God, right? Because I tell you what, man, a lot of stuff that I have to say don't make me popular with a lot of folks on both sides. So, it's I've been trying to tell conservatives for a long time, say, look, man, you don't want to go down that road. You don't want to do that, right? And conservatives have been very dismissive in terms of me telling them these things, and they want to keep to their way. That's done them a lot of damage. A lot of this stuff that's going on right now is stuff that could have been avoided had conservatives knocked off doing some of the stuff that they do, right? And because of pride, they're just as prideful. And they don't like being told these things. They think that these things in their hand is okay. And if liberals do it, it's dumb. But if they do it, they do these same irresponsible things, it's okay. And I tell conservatives these things, but they don't want to hear it. They think they got it all in control while cities are burning. Right. And like I said, conservatives don't want to hear these things. They don't want to hear that stuff. They just want to hear that liberals are dumb. You can't tell conservatives that, hey, you might be doing some things that are contributing to them being able to spread the prejudice that they do about you. They don't want to hear that. So once again, this idea of I'm trying to do all this to impress my friends is like there's no proof of that. This has only cost me. Right. This has cost me, a lot. So once again, it's a deceptive perception about what my motivations are. Let's see. In conclusion, whether you ever speak to me, love me, or hate me is of no significance to me. If that were true, I don't think you would have wasted your time writing this letter, but Democrats are very self-deceiving. You can hear a lot of hurt in this letter, and like I said, that's where Democrats come from. They come from a place of hurt. This hurt has haunted my dad before I was born, right? I came to, since I've been old enough to learn how to speak, right? Start walking, talking, stuff like that, his, would reveal himself as just a hurt, angry, bitter, petty person. It's a person I've always known, and the person I've, kind of kept at arm's length from. These kind of ideas, y'all, these behaviors, the big problem about these behaviors, y'all, is that they become policy. These kind of hurt-filled policy ideas become policy that people want us, to have to live by. That's where it's at. And these are things that I reject. It's like, look, man, we need to get policies that come from a place of healing, not a place of hurting, because, you know, as the saying goes, hurt people, right? So he's deceiving himself in saying that he's not hurt, and his hurt existed long before me. I didn't have anything to do with that, right? It's like, look, man, my objective hasn't been to hurt you, right? And the thing that hurts my dad the most is that I'm not a racist like he is. That's what he wants. You know, he wants me to hate white people as much as he does, right? He wants me to carry on that same bitterness, and he wants me to have that prideful worldview of being black the way that he does. And nothing good comes from that, y'all. I know that doesn't come from that. So, and because of that, that's very hurtful to him. And, you know, I got to hurt and I got to be angry just like him. Why would anybody want that for their son? Why would anybody want that for anybody? And so in conclusion, as he has already said, and then he goes on to say, you haven't been much of a son to me anyway. You are just an a-hole. You are just an a-hole Negro trying to find somewhere to squat. All right, literally. All right. So once again, he ties his grievance with me being black. See, once again, y'all, I don't tie my grievances with people to their skin color. Despite all that black pride that he has, the thing that he can't help but curse me without cursing me for being black. And that's the way a lot of it is in the black community, y'all. And then they wonder why they can't get ahead. And they wonder why they're so hostile towards each other while accusing other people of being hostile to them. They don't see it, right? So trying to find some place to squat, literally. And yeah, there's kind of a lot of truth to that, y'all. You know, my career and doing what I've done has pretty much left me, you know, it's left me broke. I'm broke. And my so-called friends that he says that I'm trying to please so much, I got very few friends, right? Very, 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 very few friends, you know, very, very thankful and blessed for the ones that I do have. But, you know, it doesn't make for a great living. So I don't know why he thinks that I'm seeking some great reward in this. I'm still doing it. I could have done something else a long time ago, man. But a part of the reason why I do this is because there are people, you know, who do want to hear the truth. You know, there's some left, and the Lord is worth it. You know, the Lord is worth me trying to put what I can out there according to His word. You know, and Lord have mercy on me if I'm telling anybody any lies. I don't want to lie to people in the Lord's name. I don't want to lie to people at all. So, you know, I pray that the Lord, you know, for His protection and, you know, and His favor. And if I'm deceiving anybody, then, you know, I do deeply apologize, because that's not my objective. And I want to be a blessing to the Lord and just tell of His truth. That's what I do. So if my dad thinks that, you know, just like Democrats, if they think that I'm doing this to appease my white friends, you know, yeah, that's just off base.